Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. This story, I'm going to tell you why when I was playing in Montenegro, that was my favorite place to play. Sometimes, actually a lot of times when people ask me about playing ball, especially when I do like podcast interviews and stuff, people ask me, you play in all these places, what was your favorite place? People ask, what was your favorite place on the court, your favorite place off the court? So my favorite place off the court, I would give two. I cheat. One was Lithuania because that was the first place that I played. So it was just the first thing you remember, first time being outside the country, first time playing overseas, all that stuff. And the second place that I answered off the court was Mexico. And I talked about Mexico in the previous one, but I'll talk about Mexico again in another video. But on the court, I would definitely say Montenegro for several reasons. Number one, that I got that deal because I brokered that deal myself. And that was when I sent like all these emails, sent like 1,000+ emails trying to get myself on, because I hadn't had a job for I went a whole year without having a job overseas, and I hustled my way into getting that job. So it was special to me because of that, number one. And number two, because when I was playing in Montenegro, we only played a game once a week. So the season was, the same length as like an NBA season, but we only had a game once a week. So it was all this time, but not that many games. It was like a third of the number of games you would see in the NBA. So all those days when we didn't have games, so we only had a game once a week, we would practice. We would practice twice a day, Monday through Friday. We would have a game on Saturday, and then we have Sunday off. That's how it was every week. And the thing is, the practice would be every day at like every morning at like 9 o'clock, and then in the evening at 5 o'clock. The same times every single time. And the thing is, the way it is overseas, sometimes any of you has ever played overseas, or if you will, or you know somebody who does, they'll tell you this, that sometimes the rotations will be crazy the way the coaches do it. Like, you could be the best player on the team. You could be the only American on the team and clearly the best player on the team, but then you're not even starting. The game's 40 minutes. You might play 18 minutes. The team lost and you're not even playing half the game. You coming off the bench. You don't get in the game the whole first quarter. These are the kind of things that will happen when you're playing overseas. And you're like, it makes no sense whatsoever, but you can't complain because then you might end up losing your job. And sometimes the coach might not even speak English. My coach didn't speak English. So it's like, what do? You just got to keep showing up. So, and this is when I started. I don't remember how I got this idea, but I don't know. I might have read it in a blog or something like that. But I started treating the practices like games. Because I'm like, shit, I might not play that much in the game. I remember one game I played like 10 minutes. We lost. And I'm like, yo, I'm the best player in this motherfucker. Why am I not playing? So I'm like, all right, shit. If I'm going to be on this team, I got to be a professional. I got to show up every single day, and I got to give my best effort because I'm the American on the team. I'm probably getting paid more than everybody else on the team, even though I'm not even playing in the damn game. The coach has these crazy rotations, makes no sense. We're not even winning the game. I'm not playing. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start coming to practice the way I would come to a game. I'm going to start treating practices like games, and I'm going to go hard in practice. When we do the drills, I'm going to dunk it every time. I'm gonna just try to dominate practices. Fuck it, because I might not even play in the game. So that's the way I started approaching it mentally every single day in practice. And that's really where a lot of the stuff that I talk about now, when I talk mental toughness and discipline and all those things, really came from my experience in Montenegro, because the shit wasn't going the way it was supposed to have gone, like logically looking at basketball and looking at my skill set. But I still had to keep showing up, because I'm like, if I don't show up, then they might say, well, we don't need Dre. He ain't even going hard in practice. So I started going hard in practice every single day. And the reason why it was my favorite situation on the court, despite the fact that sometimes the rotations were crazy, was one thing that the coach always looked at me as was a shooter. Because I remember the first day that we had practice, the first day I had practice with him, the very first practice, the floor was so slippery I couldn't really drive to the hole because I couldn't get any traction on the ground. So all I was doing was just shooting jump shots. I would just use jab steps and fakes, and I would just shoot jump shots, and I was just making all my shots. So the coach just had this first impression of me as being an outside shooter, so all he wanted me to do was shoot jump shots. So he just saw me as a shooter. And in practice every day, at the beginning and end, and even in the middle of practices, every time we practice, we would just do shooting drills. So any of you who's an American who watches basketball, and y'all have this impression that overseas or European-born players are shooters. He's European. He's a shooter. He's from wherever, Germany. He's a shooter. He's from Spain. He's a shooter. One of the reasons why people get that impression is because a lot of times those players that come from there can shoot from the outside, and because a lot of the times those players are not as athletic as American players, and they aren't taught that way. Over there, we didn't do drills for driving to the basket and dunking. Over there, we didn't do drills for crossing people over and stuff like that. We did drills for shooting. That's all we fucking did. I mean, I can't tell you how many jump shots I shot just in practice alone playing in Montenegro. 2 practices a day. We were always doing shooting drill. I mean, that's all we did was shooting drill. We never did a dribbling drill. We never did a driving to the hole drill. We did shooting, shooting, shooting. That's all we did. So we were spending so much time shooting. And the funny thing is, right before I got that job, I had been working on my own shot. I remember I was in LA Fitness because I was living in Tampa Bay at the time. All I would do was work on my outside shot because I already knew I could drive to the hole. I knew I was athletic. I could play above the rim. I was like, I need to work on my outside shot because that's what's going to prolong my career. I can't jump over everybody forever. So I would always work on my outside shots. So we get to Montenegro, that's all they wanted me to do was shoot jump shots. So man, we shot so many damn jump shots, and my shot was fucking automatic at that time. This is 2007, 2008. My jump shot was automatic at that point because that's all we did. I wasn't working on driving to the hole or even dribbling, just shooting. And we would get into games and my shit was automatic. I'm making all kinds of shots. I was taking contested shots. I was shooting several feet behind the 3-point line, and I'm just knocking down everything. I don't think I missed a single free throw because that's all we did was shoot J's. So that was my favorite time on the court. Just because the amount of time we spent on the court, all those practices that we had, the fact that I manufactured and brokered that deal myself, and because my jump shot was automatic at that period of time. So I would get in the game, second quarter, we down by 20. I made all my shots. I didn't miss a single shot. We still ended up losing the game by 20 because he didn't keep me in the game. We get to halftime. I'm killing in the second quarter. I don't start the third quarter. Don't get into it's 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Those kind of things will happen in the game. Again, inexplicable. You can't explain it. You can't complain about it either. But that's just what it is. So my favorite place on the court is Montenegro, and that's why. If you want to play basketball overseas, I got a book called The Overseas Basketball Blueprint. I do have it here, but I don't have it next to me right now. balloverseas.com. The link is down in the video description. Go to balloverseas.com. Get your free copy of that book. I've already paid for the book. All you do is pay for the shipping. I will ship that book to you. balloverseas.com. If you want to play basketball overseas, work on your game. Dre all day.